What's going on, guys? I got the picks for Tybora versus Spivak 2. Getting this video out a little bit later than I usually like to here on a Wednesday. I try to get these out Monday or Tuesday, but I've just been very busy this week. I did make this PowerPoint over a week ago, only edited it a little bit today just to get the Gutierrez fight in, as well as update some odds. But yeah, we'll get right into it. First things first. I got my spreadsheet here. Maybe some of you don't find it useful, hard to read. I find it, it's good for me. This is something that I use all the time. Of course, I made it, so I should know how to use it. But if you do have questions about it, feel free to leave in the comments. I did explain it in one of my breakdown videos, I think 2 weeks ago. So you can always check that as well. But, pause it if you want to. Otherwise, we'll just move on. So first things first, we got the first fight on the card. We have Talita Alensar versus Stephanie Luciano. This is a rematch from their Contender Series fight. The first fight was a draw, but Talita did win the first 2 rounds. She got 10-8'd in the third round when she was struggling on takedowns. Talita, she's coming in here as a plus 140 underdog. She has very high accolades in jiu-jitsu. That's actually where I know her from. So I've always recognized her name. But she's a lot older than Luciano is. Talita's 34, Luciano is 24. Talita has very poor striking, which is why she got 10-8'd in the third round. But she has great jiu-jitsu. She's a wet blanket if she can get the takedown. And she's got not only a wet blanket, but she will attack submissions. She's got some submissions. I think a few rear naked chokes and an armbar. In some of her pre-contender series fights. And she did win her last fight. Now I thought it was a robbery. I thought she lost to what was it, like Rayani Dos Santos? If I said that name correctly. I thought she lost 2-1. But regardless, she got those first fight jitters out of the way. Whereas Luciano, she's making her debut here. So I think you're getting a good spot here with the plus 140 underdog on Alensar. Moving on, we have Jarno Aarons versus Yusuf Zalal. I believe Jarno is one of the biggest underdogs, if not the biggest underdog on the entire card. And not only are we going with the plus 300 underdog here, we're going over 1.5, over 2.5, as well as a wins by decision at plus 500. Now, I personally am not betting the over 1.5 because I just don't have it. It's not on Bet Online, which is what I use. Bet Online only gives you one of the overs or unders. And in this case, it is the over 2.5, so that's what I'll be betting. But what we like about this fight, so again, great underdog odds on Jarno. I do not think Yusuf Zalal should be minus 4 or 500 against pretty much anybody. I don't think he's that good. I think he's really overrated. With that said, Zalal looked really good against Billy Q. Surprised me a lot. I had Billy Q in that fight because Billy Q's proven. Zalal hadn't been in the UFC in a while, hadn't had a UFC win in a long time, but Zalal just ran through Billy Q, and I believe he got the sub, if I remember correctly. So, if you're Jarno Aarons, he's 1-2 in the UFC. He is coming off a win where he looked pretty good. He had pretty good striking, honestly. I was kind of impressed. And he was fighting another striker in Stephen Nguyen, 130-27, if I remember correctly. But yeah, versus Yusuf Zalal, he is going to have to stuff those takedowns because Yusuf is primarily a grappler. I also think I've never seen Jarno in person, but I have seen Yusuf Zalal in person when I used to train at Glory MMA way back in the day. And Zalal's a small guy, not very big, which is why I was like amazed that he had fought Sean Woodson because Sean Woodson's massive, and I've met him before too. But yeah, regardless, I think Jarno should have, maybe not significant. I don't know. We'll have to watch the face off, but he should have at least a size advantage on Yusuf Zalal. So again, great underdog odds here. I think it's definitely worth a shot. Moving on, we have Carl Williams versus Jonata Denise, and this one, it's our first favorite so far, but I think minus 200 is a complete steal. Now, when this fight got first announced, I saw it on the Marcel Dorf Instagram page. I think I have the top comment on this specific post. And I said like Carl Williams should be minus 500, minus 1,000. I mean, this man's a lock. Jonata Denise, no ground game. Carl Williams, he is the African American Dagestani. He does go out there, he takes down everybody. He's got impressive wins. Like even on the Contender Series, he came into the Contender Series moving up a weight class from light heavyweight, and he fought Jimmy Lawson, who is if I remember correctly, he is a D1 Penn State wrestler. So very credentialed, and Carl Williams just ragdolled him. Out wrestled the D1 wrestler, right? Uh, I don't know if Carl Williams won D1 or what, but Carl Williams, he does have wrestling, and he's got this lay and pray style, whereas Denise, he's gotten such bad ground game that when he gets taken down, it's just over for him, right? So he's just holding on for dear life. He just wants to make it to the next round. That's what we saw versus Austin Lane. He made no attempt to get up. He was just trying to cover up shots, just prevent Austin Lane from being able to posture. And wound up working for him. He knocked out Lane in the second round, but Lane sucks, honestly. The guy's massive, but he's got no chin. We've seen Carl Williams fight Chase Sherman or Justin Toffa. Maybe he's dropped a round or two when it's just all striking, but we've seen him eat some shots and he doesn't go down. I don't think he's chinny. I don't think he cowers versus hard shots or anything like that. And again, Denise, he's a kickboxer. He's like a glory kickboxer or something. He's got huge power. All of his wins are first round KO, except for the Austin Lane fight, which was second round KO. But yeah, I just don't see him making this a stand up battle. If it's a stand up battle, Janah Denise should win. But I think Carl Williams is just going to take him down every single round and have like 4.5 minutes of control time each round, right? And the other thing, we have the wins by decision here at plus 130. And again, Denise, he just holds on. All he's doing is making no attempt to get up, just prevent his opponent from trying to ground and pound. And Carl Williams doesn't even do ground and pound. Doesn't go for submissions. He's not really a ground and pound guy. I think all of his wins so far in the UFC are decision. I think he's 3-0 with 3 decisions, 4-0 with the Contender Series. So I think it makes sense here. Moving on, we have Toshiomi Kazama versus Charalampos Grigoriou. Another underdog here, plus 186. Kazama, he's 5 years younger than Grigoriou. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. Honestly, I've seen some of his jiu-jitsu matches from when he was in Japan doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. He is a submission hunter. And Grigoriou looked terrible versus Anheliger. Anheliger's an old man, should not be out there beating, prospects, which Grigoriou, I guess, was supposed to be. I thought Grigoriou was going to win because I looked at some of his highlights beforehand. I'm like, Anheliger sucks. Grigoriou should get a KO or something, but did not work out that way. Now with Kazama, the big flag here is he's super chinny. Most of his losses are by KO. He's lost 3 times by KO in his last 4 fights. His only 2 UFC fights so far, both first round KO, very early. But again, it's like it's worth a shot, And I don't have it written here. I'm saving it for the end for the other bets I like slide that I'm not going to place because I only place the computer bets, if you remember. But I don't hate Kazama first round submission. Kazama's got 5 submissions on his record. Let me pull it up right now. I'll pull it up on my other screen. But yeah, he's okay. So he's got a triangle, 2 arm locks, a heel hook, and an arm bar. All are first round subs. Okay, so 5 subs, 5 first round subs. If he's going to get his sub, probably going to be in the first round, right? So, and I think it's like plus 1,000. So don't hate that at all. But yeah, Kazama here, just the money line is my pick. That's the pick that I'm advertising. That's the pick that I'm playing. I'm not playing anything else. I am playing the points handicap, but I usually don't put the points handicap bets on the screen because a lot of people don't have them. So they don't count for or against me other than personally. Moving on, we have Chelsea Chandler versus Yana Santos. We have another underdog here. I think this was actually closer to even a week ago. And I guess some people are betting Yana Santos now. But Yana Santos, she's on a 3-fight losing streak. Formerly Yana Kunitskaya, 3-fight losing streak. 2 of them were pretty bad, but she just fought Cara Rosa last year, and that was like a 50-50 fight, split decision loss. But Cara Rosa honestly kind of sucks too. I don't think Cara Rosa is that much better than Chelsea Chandler. And Chelsea Chandler, I just think she's more masculine. She's more physical. she's got decent jiu-jitsu. I've known about Chelsea Chandler for years from the jiu-jitsu scene. And Yana, she does no damage. She's a clinch merchant. So she just clinches girl every single fight. That's all she's looking for, clinching. She's throwing knees and stuff. It's about it. And Chelsea's big thing is like, she's just slow. She sucks, but so does Yana. Yana's slow and she sucks. Yana, went through a pregnancy. So I mean, I think Chelsea here just makes sense. She just had a win versus Josiane Nunes. I mean, that's not a bad win, right? And they have one common opponent in Julia Stoliarenko. Yana Santos dominated 30-27, but Chelsea Chandler dominated even more with a first round KO. So, yeah, we got Chelsea Chandler by decision. That's my play for this fight. All right, next one we have Chris Gutierrez fighting Kwang Lee. Kwang Lee stepping up short notice for Javid Basharat, who had to pull out. And Kwang Lee, like, he is prepared because he was supposed to fight in the Contender Series next month. So they're just going to give him the UFC contract regardless. But he's coming in as a big underdog, and you got to think, like, how many of these guys who step in as a huge underdog against an established name actually win, short notice, like as a replacement? Not a lot. I can think of like Kevin Kroom upsetting Roosevelt Roberts 2020. I can think of Alexander Hernandez beating Beneil Dariush, right? But you don't really have a lot of these short notice replacements, winning as huge underdogs. It's very, very rare, and I just don't see Kwang Lee winning here because Chris Gutierrez he has way better experience. He's been fighting way higher level guys. Now, when Chris Gutierrez fights the elite guys, he is losing. He lost versus Song Yadong, and I mean, I don't know if you call Pedro Munoz elite. He's like top 10, but he lost to that guy too. But when he fights like the middle of the pack unranked UFC fighters, Gutierrez just like, he cleans house. Like, those are the guys like he can always comfortably beat. He's very tricky, especially if you're making your debut, and you're fighting a guy like Chris Gutierrez. Like, not a lot of people fight like Chris Gutierrez because Chris Gutierrez is like, he's a leg kick merchant. He's very tricky. A lot of different attacks, a lot of different kicks. Now you don't really have to worry about the knockout that much, aside from maybe like spinning knee, or spinning back fist or a flying knee or something like that. Because Gutierrez isn't great with the hands. And the other thing about Gutierrez is like he's got poor wrestling. If you take him down, he doesn't really get up. But his jiu-jitsu itself isn't that bad. But again, when you're doing MMA, not always the best thing to just lay on your back and try to hunt for submissions there. But I think Gutierrez should win this pretty comfortably. So I got him by money line and I got him by decision. The decision odds here might not be accurate. I have a computer model that predicts what the prop odds are going to be because I don't think they've come out yet. But it'll probably be about plus 150. Makes sense. Maybe it'll be higher, which will be great because I'll bet it anyway. But yeah, I think Kwang Lee, he's 8-0, so he's probably not that bad, but I don't know anyone he's ever beaten. And, the way I'm kind of feeling about it's kind of like a gut feeling is, he's stepping up short notice against an established name. He's probably going to get dominated, but, he might survive a decision and people will be like, wow, it's like, decent showing to survive 30-27 to a decision when he had no chance to win to begin with. It's like the Chris Moutinho thing, right? Versus Sean O'Malley. Although Moutinho did get TKO'd at the end. Anyway, moving on, we have Damon Jackson versus Chepe Mariscal. And this is our big play of the day. Last week, our big play did not work out, and that was Mackenzie Dern, first round KO versus Lupi Godinez. We had 5 bets on it. Now, Dern did win, but, we had 4 props on Dern getting a finish or unders and stuff like that, and it was a decision, so wound up taking a big loss there. And bad play, but again, you gotta make at least one of these long shot plays per week, in my opinion. So this is our long shot play. We have the money line under 2.5 at even odds, Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 130. We have Damon by finish, plus 325. Damon by sub, then Damon first round sub, plus 1250. And what we like here, big size advantage for Damon Jackson. He's 4 inches taller, pretty significant there. He's a submission hunter. So, he hasn't had a finish in his last 5 fights, but you look at his whole career, the guy's got a lot of submissions, and even his decision wins or a lot of his KO wins, like maybe not actually, no, never mind. Scratch the KO wins, but because he's only got like 2 or something. But a lot of his decision wins, they're from the grappling. Okay. Now, the big warning sign with Damon Jackson is he's 5 years older and he is chinny. Like he's been knocked out bad by Dan Ige or Ilia Topuria, and pre-UFC, Kai Bulaev KO'd him in 10 seconds. Really bad KO. And I haven't seen this one, but he also got KO'd by Kevin Aguilar in the 3rd round in LFA 2017. And Mariscal, he actually has a lot of KOs, but you look at how he's KOing people. They're TKOs. He doesn't have that like one-shot KO power. So I don't think Damon's really got to worry about that. And again, it's like Topuria, Kai Bulaev, Ige, they're definitely a step above where Mariscal is. So I like these big underdog odds. Now we are going to get screwed if Mariscal wins a decision. All 6 of these are losing. We're going to drop 6 units. Okay, so keep that in mind. But let's say Mariscal does get a finish in the 1st or 2nd round. Well, we'll cash our unders. We'll still lose. We'll still come out negative, but it won't sting that bad. It'll be like minus 2.2 units or something like that. So it won't be that bad. And again, if we do hit that 1st round sub, that's going to be crazy. It'll be like plus 20 units or something like that. So just keep that in mind. Damon Jackson, that is our play for this fight. And moving on, we have the main event here. We have Sergey Spivak in the rematch versus Marcin Tybura. Spivak is minus 155 now. I bet him last week, I think minus 120. Spivak's 9 years younger. Now, he has lost to Tybura. He lost to Tybura in 2020, and it was pretty dominant. I think Tybura 30-27'd him. But ever since that loss to Tybura, Sergey's looked really, really good. I mean, like, yeah, he did lose. He got destroyed by Aspinall, destroyed by Gon. Those are the elite of the elite, right? Like, those are champions. But ran through like a lot, like Derek Lewis, Augusto Sakai, Greg Hardy. Before that, he had a 3-fight winning streak with Oleinik, Vendera, and Felipe. And he looked good in all those fights. He's got good takedowns. He's very aggressive on the ground. He gets a lot of ground and pound finishes, and he also hunts for submissions. Okay, so very aggressive on the ground. Now he is a quitter. Okay, we see him quit multiple times, and he's weak to the body. And that's they kind of go hand in hand there. And I think Tybura is just purely the better striker as well. I think the first fight proved it. I mean, the first fight proved that Tybura was everywhere, but better everywhere. But that was 4 years ago, over 4 years ago. So, and Spivak is a lot younger. So the younger guys, they always improve fast. And the other thing is we gotta watch out for is Tybura also has good takedown defense. So we gotta see if Spivak, Spivak averages like 4.5 takedowns per fight. We gotta see, or per 15 minutes, because he does finish a lot of these fights early. But 4.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. We gotta see if Sergey's going to be able to get any takedowns versus Tybura, because I don't believe he got any in the first fight. I don't remember. I don't think he did. I think it was Tybura with the takedowns. But yeah, that's my pick for the main event here. Just the money line. I'm not picking a method, or will I? Well, I'm not betting one. But we'll go on to our next slide, which is the other bets that I like, but I'm not going to place. I'm not placing these. These don't count for or against me. But if you're looking for maybe some other types of action, feel free to play these. But again, don't blame me if they lose, because I'm not telling you to do it. Just entertaining you guys. So the first one is yes, the Spivak Tybura fight goes to decision. Plus 170. it could just be like a messy grappling battle where both guys are like holding on for dear life. They kind of both have like fat man bodies, which most of heavyweight does. So it can totally end up being like just a 25-minute hug fest, right? Neither guy really has one punch knockout power. I don't think either guy's ever really had like a one punch knockout. So you don't really have to worry about that the way you might worry in like a Derek Lewis or Aspinall fight or something like that. So I don't hate the plus 170 there for fight goes decision. Another one I don't hate. We didn't have a bet on this fight. So I didn't have a slide. I didn't break it down, but Danny Barlow versus Nikolay Veretnikov. That fight going decision too. Now Barlow's on a 4-fight KO streak, but Veretnikov he hasn't been KO'd since 2014, and he fought Michael Morales on the Contender Series, and he did lose. But Michael Morales is really, really good. I mean, I think Michael Morales is like future top 5 in my opinion. The guy's really young, and Veretnikov, clearly lost 30, 27, 29, 28, but he hung in there and didn't get KO'd. And I'm not sure if Danny Barlow's at that Michael Morales level. Maybe he is. Maybe he's better. We'll have to see in the future. But I don't hate this fight going to decision either. Another thing, I already touched on it. Kazama round 1 sub plus 1,000. I'll just repeat. The guy's got 5 submission wins. He's a submission guy, and all 5 are by first round submission. So kind of makes sense there. This one's kind of obvious. It's a minus 400. I usually don't show the minus 400s here, but Kara Rosa, Pannie Kianzad. I mean, Kara Rosa 9-fight decision streak. Every one of her UFC fights has gone to decision, and Pannie Kianzad, her last 16 fights, 14 of them have gone to decision, and the only person who's finished her is Macy Chiasson twice, right? So probably if you combine like the 9 from Kara Rosa and the 16 from Kianzad, of their last 25 fights, 23 of them have gone decision. So that's what, 92%. So that's going to beat your minus 400. Minus 400, I think you have to be 80% or better, right? So like that. Another one is Talita Lensar submission plus 550. Lensar's on a 3-fight decision streak. But her first 3 fights were also by... Oh, okay. I guess they were all rear naked choke. I think I said one was an armbar. I was incorrect. All rear naked choke. But, Talita does get these takedowns. Her takedowns suck, okay? She struggles getting the takedowns, but she does get the takedown. She does get the back. Like, totally open for a submission because she is very high level on the ground. Another one I like is Damon Jackson... Mariscal under 1.5. This is actually a computer play. Usually I put it in the slides, and I probably should have, but the thing is that I don't think I have that prop on Bet Online. I only had the under 2.5, so I actually can't even play this one, right? And there's just too many bets on screen, so I just moved the one play I couldn't play. I just moved it over here, but. If we're betting Jackson first round submission, it kind of tells you that, might as well make sense to bet the under 1.5 too. And Jackson's been KO'd in the first round against Topuria or Khaibulaev as well. So, Mariscal could KO him in the under 1.5. We don't want that to happen, but it could happen. Then finally, the last one I'll have here is Chelsea Chandler by knockout. Now, I know the computer play is Chelsea Chandler by decision, but I don't, if the computer was not saying Chelsea Chandler by decision and it was up to me and I had a free bet, I'd totally be okay with the KO at plus 850, because think about it. Yana Santos, KO'd by Irene Aldana, KO'd by Aspen Ladd, KO'd by Chris Cyborg. What did all those KOs have in common? They're ground and pound finishes. Chelsea Chandler, she has a ground and pound finish versus Julia Stoliarenko, right? What happens if Chelsea gets takedowns? She's going for the sub. She's getting frustrated. She just starts wailing on Yana Santos. They just stop these women's fights early because, the refs just feel bad or something. So I don't hate that play. Just saying. Maybe if you're like on DraftKings or something, you could do like the KO or decision prop, or something like that maybe. But yeah, so these, that's the breakdown. These are the best that I like in this final slide, but they're not going to count four against me in my recap video that I'll make next Sunday. Just place the ones that I actually had on the slides. Okay. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye.